Good morning, afternoon, or evening, anime enthusiasts, and welcome to the Hidden Online Podcast. This is Callie.
And this is Quinn, here to help you embark on a journey through the latest and greatest in the anime world.
From shonen showdowns to slices of life, we try to cover it all.
We are your fellow anime aficionados, bringing you the latest buzz from the anime sphere, and we thank you for joining us in our adventure.
Yo, are we live?
We are live, bro. This is our second attempt at recording this episode because unfortunately I had the wrong settings when recording the first time around. So
we were live then too, though.
We were live then, yeah. But unfortunately, we couldn't keep it because I messed up the recording. So my apologies, guys. This is why this one's being released late, and we'll probably be a little shorter because we're going to retread some ground we kind of already conversated. But we wanted to still get it out and give you guys our thoughts on the latest episodes of everything we're going to cover.
The title of this episode just came to me: delayed due to not golf related.
Yeah, that's a good one, actually. Non-golf related coverage delay. Yeah, I got you.
I think we said it.
Yeah. So, but hey, we're here now. We're gonna retread this ground and talk about this stuff and just see where we go with it. Yep. Anyway, so last time around, I told you Rick and Morty. For news-wise, we're talking news now.
Yes.
Rick and Morty, they announced that their anime is coming out this year. And the coolest fact about it is it's being directed by the director from one of my favorite animes, which you haven't seen yet, but
It's on the list. It's on the list.
I love it. It's called Tower of God. Highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, definitely go listen to it. Or watch it.
I have listened to episodes before, not that one, but just in general in the past in anime. I've been listening to episodes like a podcast.
Yeah, did you do that with Naruto?
Yeah, I think I cooked through about 80 episodes in a work week, and because I had to get to a certain episode by Friday, and well, it's just like throw it on like a podcast and listen to some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the older Naruto, that works a little bit better because there's just a lot of those panning scenes. All you really need to do is hear the talking. So
yeah, I was at the point, I was so deep in the show at that point that I knew everyone's voices. I didn't have to look, and
yeah. I'm sure when you got to like the battle scenes too, you're like, okay, I gotta pause because I gotta like
pause or like pull over and watch it and then continue working. Like I could take a $5 and watch a fight scene.
Yeah.
Or even a very emotionally intense scene, I'd pause it and I'd go watch just to see like the art of the characters' reactions during those scenes.
Yeah.
But a lot of it, yeah, it's really easy to just sit there and listen to it.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's still learning how to Rasengan. Good grief. I don't need to see him try.
Yeah. Well, the second thing was something that I was super excited to talk to you about, which was the Blue Lock Season 2 announcement that's supposed to air this year.
That's big.
Because we've been talking about it. We talked about it in a previous episode about the movie that's coming out. Still haven't looked up to see, like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a continuation, obviously, of the last season, but I don't know if Nagi is going to be like an in-between, like episode Nagi, the movie is going to be like... Yeah, I have a feeling it's probably going to be like a side story, just giving you more background about that character.
I would like it to be Nagi before season 1, like leading up in like getting into Blue Lock would be cool. Yep,
I'm kind of hoping that's what it is too. I think that would be a cool side story. Just kind of build out that character a little more because Nagi's such a cool character. Yeah. And I don't feel like in the first season we got a really good background on him. We only got like a brief background.
There's a lot of cool characters in the show that I think would deserve their own like flashback episode, and it would be cool. By the way, I've learned if there's a past arc or a flashback arc, I think those are my favorite arcs in anime.
Really?
I think so. Yeah, because I really enjoyed the JJK flashback, and then when I was reading Bleach and they did the past arc, bro, there's something there's something about it. It's just really cool. And I really only just gave 2 examples. Is there another one?
Well, let me ask you this. So, like, would a past arc have as much punch if they didn't build up the mystery around the past stuff?
They have to go together. It can't be a standalone. This is where I think a past arc hits hardest, depending, like, if you execute perfectly where it slots into the story, it just hits really hard.
Yeah.
And you also know, like, oh shit, something's about to go down involving these characters or this thing, because it's the focal point of the past arc.
Yeah, they have to build up these characters so that you can fall in love or get attached to them in some way. And then that way, when shit goes down in the up and coming parts,
can you recall any past arcs that outside of those two?
Well, I was going to say, I think the Bleach one is probably one of my favorites too, as far as past arcs go. But Naruto had some really good ones too. I mean, when you get the flashbacks of like Itachi's life,
that's true.
When you start looking into like Obito and how he became who he was. Not that they are like whole arcs on their own, but I really like getting that depth to the world. Oh my gosh,
yeah, Rin, Obito, Kakashi.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's another one. Minato and his baby mama.
Yeah, Kushina. Dude, I am so excited for Minato's own show coming out. I am so excited for that.
Yeah, me too. Oh gosh, I think I derailed us. But yes, Blue Lock season 2. That's awesome. I am excited to see where the movie slots in. Hopefully, it's a past arc because, boom, they're sick. Yeah, if you're ready to get into some, that was the only news, right?
Yeah, that was it. That was all the news that we had. So why don't we start with reviewing the latest episode of Go-Go Loser Ranger?
Let's do it. We're going to do Go-Go. We're going to do Kaiju. We're doing My Hero, a continuation, and we're adding in Demon Slayer as it just started last weekend. So
yeah, we'll have to be careful with Demon Slayer, though, because we've already read ahead. But for Go-Go, what'd you think of the latest episode?
So I like the continuation of like the world building. Like we got to see I think it was the White Dragon Nest or whatever. Like the neutral rangers or free agents or whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was cool. We got to see, I guess we had a reveal. The Pink Ranger is the elder sister of our green-eyed Sakurama. So that was cool. That was a cool reveal. And she's pretending to be crippled, or is she? Is it the divine artifact that's helping her?
Yeah,
we don't know.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I don't know for sure if she's pretending, but there's definitely something where they could swing in there easily and say the divine artifact just like it gives them superhuman abilities. I'm assuming. So if it does, then it could stand to reason that it, if she transforms, then she can walk normally. But when she's not in the suit, she probably can't walk.
And I wouldn't be surprised from like a mangaka's perspective if he wanted to really diversify what the artifacts look like and could do. And maybe they're not all these, dope looking bone swords. Like, could be some variety thrown in there. But yeah, that was cool. Like, it's interesting. Well, we'll just have to see that play out. But
it also raises the question of, whether she can walk or not.
Mm-hmm.
How did someone, whether she's playing in a wheelchair or is actually in a wheelchair, how does she make it to the top and become the Pink Ranger?
How did you outclass other potentially high level cadets or whatever, like high scoring cadets to get into
non-wheelchair bound cadets?
We're not being ableist by any means, just it requires a lot of legwork, it seems, to be a dragon keeper. So
well, it's a great point to bring up, because maybe it's not. I think it's good to think about, because maybe it's not all about the physical aspect.
Okay.
Maybe there is something more to being part of the Rangers, where wit or intelligence or something along those lines.
If that is the case, wouldn't it make sense if she was the Yellow Keeper, the head of research and development?
Potentially, but I don't know. I
guess we don't know what the other.
We also don't understand the selection process either.
We don't know anything. To be
Yeah,
honest.
that's the one thing this show keeps doing.
Yeah.
I said in the last recording, and I'll say it again. This show is making me feel like I'm rewatching Lost, where it's like every episode you may get like a new fact that answers like one or two questions, but then you get a whole bunch of new stuff dropped where you're like, okay, I have 42 more questions. So, yeah, we also got introduced to some of the new White Ranger characters very, very briefly.
Quite a
where
few,
he had to
too.
go like, yeah, and we had to like go hand out the cards, which, I thought it was interesting that he included that in because he had just broken that laptop that he was supposed to use to like learn about everybody. So it was like he went to go get it fixed, and then the guy who's fixing it is like, here's all the cards, so now you can learn their names. It was like a clever way for the mangaka to give the main character the names of the people he's supposed to be researching.
Yep. Yeah. I need to learn this mangaka's name and give him the respect he deserves. It's brilliant. The show's fun to watch, and there's no hand holding, which I personally really enjoyed that because you're kind of doing what we're doing now and speculating, just shot in the dark guesses. It's fun.
Yeah, I know you hate hand holding too, because I've heard you talk about like, we've talked about other animes we're watching, and you'll just be like, I don't understand why they have this dialogue.
You don't have to say
it. It just needs to be there. Yeah. And that is one thing that Go Go Loser Ranger definitely has going for it. But as you've complained in the past too, where the downside to having like very literally no hand holding can be, you can get lost a little easy.
And I'll say, it's more in Western TV or movies where the hand-holding is extremely bad and prevalent. But yeah, I enjoyed the episode though.
Yeah, I did too. I think the coolest part about the episode was probably after he met all the White Rangers and briefly had a run-in with Sakurama's sister, which he didn't know how to deal with because he didn't know anything about her, didn't even know she was going to be there. Was when he went to Sakurama's room and he ran in and he found this girl in his closet.
It's been so many days since we watched it. I'm like, I know there's something else that happened this episode.
That was the biggest reveal.
Yeah,
that was the biggest reveal.
Gentlemen, do not keep girls in your closet. Let's start there. Weird.
So this girl apparently is a fighter. Just like Fighter D is a villain just like him from the Nefarious Army or the Nefarious Villain Army.
Except she's not a part of what we learned was the remnant that Fighter D is from. So the remnant seems to be a portion of the army that decided to stay behind up in the floating castle, didn't continue fighting down on Earth.
Yeah, in the war 13 years ago.
We had some beef with him over that. Definitely some disdain there. So that's cool. That, like I said, another little world building brick thrown in.
Well, I think she thinks because she made it sound like the group that she was a part of decided to stay and fight while the remnants decided to like run and hide, or at least that's what she believes. Whereas Fighter D, like when they're having this conversation, he flashbacks and he's like, you don't understand like what happened to us. And he's the only one that said, I'm going to go down there. So if anything, he's definitely got more of the spirit of the people on the ground than the fighters that are currently up there.
100%.
But it was interesting to see her, especially her mentality. You could tell that she doesn't have patience. She's ready to take them all down. But he convinces her in one way or another, after having to like chop her head off so she doesn't go on a rampage.
Now, am I just making this up in my head? When her head was in the box and she heard him conversating, was she kind of like, oh, like you might be a little different?
Yeah, no, that was definitely the expression. And it seemed like even after the sister left, they kind of had a conversation, and it seemed like, she understands that her judgment of him was wrong.
Okay.
Or at least her initial judgment of him was probably misplaced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's what I gathered, at least.
Yeah, that's I didn't know if I was making that up in my head or if that was actually that happened.
No,
I think this week was overall good episode. We
I would say
soon.
Yeah, let's rank it. I think initially I was sitting around a 6.8 6.9. Let's say 6.9 to make it even. Not even. It's not even,
That's
obviously.
definitely not even. I don't remember. I remember my rank was a little lower than yours, I think, wasn't it?
I think you said 6.5 last time around.
Okay.
So, because I think we said, hey, hop score, official
6.7.
hop score of 6.7. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the hop score for this one's 6.7. Feel free in the comments any comments or anything you want to provide on what you guys gave this one. Go ahead and drop it. Let us know what you guys thought. I thought this one was more of a, it's another builder episode, but I just think that there's going to be something this season that's going to be a banger for it. Like there's going to be one where it's like we finally get a whole bunch of answers.
Yeah.
So
has to be.
So you want to move on to Kaiju number 8?
Let's do it. We have Kafka passing.
Our boy.
Sort of passing the exam. Let's just say he's in.
Under the wire.
He's in.
Yep.
And I guess it starts with him opening his letter, and you just see kind of the surprised look on his face, and then it cuts to this induction ceremony with all the class that was in the exam, except for Kafka. They're going through the whole thing. Mina is talking to, good grief, what's her name?
Kikuru?
Kikuru, yeah. And
Shinomiya.
That's it. Yeah, Shinomiya. And they were chatting about, she was like praising her for taking out all the kaiju and saving everyone. And you can see the internal conflict going on in Shinomiya's head. And then our boy comes in. We learn that while he passed, he did so because Vice Captain wanted to keep a close eye on him. That's kind of the gist we get. And obviously, he's funny.
Yeah.
But, so he was passed as a cadet instead of an officer, correct?
Yeah, he's on a trial run for now.
Yeah, he's got like 90 days or so.
Yeah, it was really cool to see the scene where they were kind of like all judging. You had like Mina and everybody else looking at the scores, and Mina pipes up to say, obviously, like about to say, I can't see a reason why you should pass him. But then Vice Captain Hoshina pipes in and he says, I can think of a few reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I didn't know if Mina was going to take his side there and like pass him herself, or if she was trying to keep him out of the defense force. But yeah, I love that the vice captain spoke up. And
yeah, and he basically gave the reasons, even though his scores were abysmal in the test, the fact that he was able to think on his feet.
Yes, he does have team qualities.
And I think that that's something that Mina probably really appreciated, because like you said, it's hard to tell if she really wanted him to be passed, kind of until he shows up and speaks his mind, and she has that little smile that Hoshina noticed. I think she probably appreciated that Hoshina took that bullet, because she's probably doing her best to seem impartial.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that for sure. I don't know, like, part of me was thinking maybe she doesn't want him in because she knows he's a clumsy dude and doesn't want him getting hurt. But I don't know. So vice captain, though, he was like, yep, I think he's funny and he has potential. But then you get the inner dialogue of, well, also when that 9.8 fortitude happened, his vitals
disappeared. Yep.
Sus. So he wants to keep a close eye on him. I think it's cool. It's building up the story for some fun. I hope they have a little go at each other. Kaiju form versus vice captain. Just a little battle.
Well, they have definitely set it up to where that's a possibility, because after all the training montages and the bonding between the different characters, because this is more of a setup episode for the next one where they just are kind of going through training. At the end of the episode, because he knows he's behind, he's in this trial run, and he's been told he only has so much time to improve. You see Kafka like studying late into the night, and you get a one-on-one between him and Hoshina. And Hoshina asks him, like, are you, not ask him directly, like, what's your purpose here, but like, are you here for Mina? And he goes, yes, I told her that I would fight beside her. And then he asks him, are you trying to take the vice captain spot? And he admits that, yeah, that's eventually what I would want to have.
Yep.
So they've definitely set it up to where that rivalry is huge potential for the future, which would be really cool because we haven't even really got to see Hoshina fight.
No, we haven't.
Or Mina, for that
I'm sure
matter.
he's a gangster. I feel like when it is revealed, because ultimately it's going to be revealed that he is Kaiju number 8. There's gonna be some conflict before there's a resolution there. So I'm excited to see that. This is a cool episode. We got to see everyone increasing their percentage, their power output using their kaiju suits.
Our boy Ichikawa more than doubled his power output.
Yeah, and then obviously Kikaroshi was at like 55%, and no one else seems to be even close to her.
Nope.
So
I think the only other highest one we saw was like 25% or something like that.
Yep.
I think she even said, there was a funny part where she even said to, I think, Ichikawa and one of the other characters was like, wow, if you combine yours, then you guys are almost half of mine.
Yep. Yeah, she is way ahead of these guys. I'm excited to see where that's going to go. But nothing crazy this episode. A little more setup.
Yep. I'm ready to give it a score. How about you?
Yeah, hit me.
This one I'll give it around the same as Go-Go. I'll give it a 7.
Yeah. Okay. 7 feels good.
Yep. So official Hop score, we agree. Hop score 7.0.
I dig it. Yeah, I'm excited. It was just more world building, more groundwork for things that are going to pop off soon. We're going to get some high ranking episodes out of this season, though, I think.
Oh, yeah. And to be honest, the hype around it is just huge. Like, I've had so many people talking to me about it outside of the podcast. I know that some of my other friends are just like waiting for it, like I am every live release that they do, because I love watching those short little cuts where it's like, don't take selfies with kaiju. Those things are so funny.
My uncle I was just hanging out with him last night, and he's finally caught up on Kaiju Now, and he was like, man, the opening and the outro songs are so good.
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
The whole score of the show is a banger, to be honest. Not even just the intro and outro. Just like when they're battling and like just overall the score is really good.
Let's move on to potentially the highest ranked out of the
For
four
sure.
we're doing.
For sure, the highest ranked.
And we're 2 episodes into My Hero season 7, and we got to see the outcome of the Star and Stripe Shigaraki showdown. And did it go the way you thought it was going to go?
Kind of. I didn't know for certain that Stars and Stripes was going to go out the way that she went out.
Yeah.
I didn't think she was going to win. We kind of predicted when we were talking in the last episode, like there's just no way she can win because he's the big bad. He's got to survive this.
Right. Maybe there was an angle where she beat him and then
but he escaped.
Yeah. Right. Because, I mean, her quirk is strong enough to do that. I think if maybe she were a little more clever with a few things, but that whole like naming him and then that him not actually identifying with that name or having conflict inside himself. Yeah. That's kind of a cheat code. So
yeah, above all else, this episode was probably one of the best written episodes
of
out
the
of
whole
the entire
show.
series. Yeah, that I've seen so far, just because the way that the battle went, the internal battle, how each of them thought ahead, the strategy, and how they built up, how they built up Stars and Stripes in the matter of the last episode of last season,
which was like the last 2 minutes of last season.
Last 2 minutes. The first episode of this season and then this episode. So like within a matter of 45 minutes, you fall in love with this character, and then
it's gone.
And then through the course of the fight, she just gets she gets wiped out. However, she doesn't go out without a fight.
Mm-mm.
She does a great job of combating Shigaraki. But I want to talk about, before we get into like the nitty gritty details of how Shigaraki kind of beat her, I want to talk about what you brushed on before, was how she finally touched him, and the internal conflict and struggle that they had, that he had, because he can't identify himself.
Mhm.
He can't figure out who he is. I just thought that was such a interesting way to combat that power, but it was also an interesting way.
It didn't feel cheap either, because we've already seen the buildup of Shigaraki having these mental like flashbacks to his childhood, and then having this struggle, this relationship with All For One. So it makes sense that the dude is just kind of deranged and lost, and
Yeah.
it didn't feel like, oh, okay, that's a cop out. Like you just came up with that to get out of this crazy OP quirk that you created.
It even though it is kind of technically like a plot armor-ish move, it didn't feel like plot armor.
No, and that's good writing.
Yes, exactly. I was about to say, I think that's that's a great example of good writing. That and building up Stars and Stripes to the point where you fall in love with her. And then when Shigaraki survives her massive attack on him and comes in and just destroys her, that's when it's like, oh man, it hit you. Like within a matter of 45 minutes, you fall in love with the character. It was kind of like Rengoku.
Oh,
you know?
Very similar.
You only get one movie with Rengoku, but by the end of the movie with Rengoku from Demon Slayer, you are just balling.
And if you break that down, when they re-released it as episodes, it was just 6 episodes. So, it was a few more than Star and Stripe, but still, they were building this character up over the course of like 40 or so minutes before you realize, it's not looking so good.
No, it was not looking good at all.
But we'll get back to Demon Slayer. Yes,
we are. That's next up. The coolest thing, though, I think, was what she did when Shigaraki finally got his hands on him. You want to? What did you think was going to happen when that happened?
I mean, I thought she was toast, like she was done for. But I like what she did with the rule, setting the rule that new, what is it? It's New Order.
New Order.
New Order.
New Order.
Yeah. The specific wording, I don't remember.
I think it was New Order will rebel against all other quirks.
That sounds about right. Yeah. I mean, it's sick. And then it goes into that weird star realm where,
like, quirk dimension.
Yes. And it's rinsing all the other quirks that Shigaraki has.
It's like, it was like it was very reminiscent of, is like when you see Levi in Attack on Titan just tearing through minor Titans left and right.
Yeah, it's no competition whatsoever.
Coming in here, folding quirks left and right. I mean, it's just, it was amazing. And it was a great way to knock Shigaraki down a peg, because last season he just came out like he was basically invincible. So this is a good way to knock him down from his throne and give the heroes a little bit more time to, get ready to fight the big fight.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was good. It was a lot of fun. I am saddened by the whole thing, but it was cool. And she went out in a way where I think what she did is going to help. Yeah, it's going to help in the long run for sure.
Yep. And they also, I don't know if you remember, but they actually gathered like battle data on Shigaraki.
Yeah.
And they gave it to them to like research, which we could probably see some more of that. That's, what is it? Chekhov's gun, where it's like, you don't put a gun in a scene and then not use it later.
Yeah,
there's no point in saying it. So,
oh no, it's going to come into play for sure. There was definitely something I wanted to hit on. We talked about how they were both outsmarting each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm just most curious to see how many of his quirks are gone. Like, which ones are gone, how beat up he truly is, and how much information we're actually going to get in the next episode. I'm wondering if it's going to be kind of like what is it, season 5, where they do like My Hero Academia, and then was it the My Villain Academia?
I know what I was gonna say. This is kind of a silly side note, so nothing to do with the episode. I just want some art of Star and Stripe and Toto from JJK. That's all. I want art of them two together, saying brother.
He does seem like it might be her type. I mean, his type, Toto's type.
Yes, 100%. And he's man enough to keep up with her. So
I know Jennifer Lawrence isn't quite a muscle mommy like Stars and Stripes is, but I'm sure he'd still be into her.
Like Jennifer Lawrence. It's so funny that's the actress.
That's the one that they chose.
But yeah, let's hit a ranking. I know yours was big. It was like 8.
Mine was an 8.9.
Yeah.
And I still feel the same about it because it was just so good. Days.
I think I was a little under. I was like 8.3, 8.4, 8.5.
I think you're right. I think you were like at 8.3.
Yeah, that feels good. That feels familiar. Where does that put us?
I think that puts us, well, let's say 8.5 even. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I think that might be actually 8.6 because 8.6 is the right number there. So official hop score,
that's big.
8.6.
That's big.
That is a big one. I think that's the biggest one so far, actually. I can't remember exactly, but I do think that one is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, our opinions are both biased. Mine is just a little lower than yours because I need my fire dudes in there kicking shit around.
I think mine. I think the reason why mine was so high was because I just loved the writing in this one. The writing, and for me, that's a lot of what I look for because I've seen so many different animes, and when I have to compare them, I try and look at how good the writing is, even if I don't like the characters as much. I when writing is really, really good, that's when you'll get a really high score for me, even if the animation isn't great.
I can't argue that. Cannot argue that. Let's move on to our final review. And
Demon Slayer.
Man, it was good. It was fun to be back, man. I like it. The animation is crisp.
Yep.
It's crispy. And we got, I believe, now you just read it more recently than me. Anime only content in this episode? Or do you remember reading that? I don't remember that first little bit with the wind and serpent Hashira.
I was going to ask you that too.
Okay, I'm pretty positive it's anime only.
That, to be honest, it was a nice touch.
Oh, it was, sick. I mean, because it's 2 Hashira you haven't got to see really any sort of work out of yet. So that right there is already, it's easy if you're picking from the Hashira. You're like, okay, cool. Well, let's do these 2 because, well, we've seen Tengen, Rip Rengoku. We've seen the Mist and Love. We've seen the Insect Hashira. I think the only one left outside of those 2 is the Stone Hashira. Is that correct? I believe that is correct. So, and I mean, he's going to make a presence. So, but they went ahead and put in our 2 guys. One of them being Sanemi, the Wind Hashira, who is second/first. So I say like tied. My 2 favorite characters in the show, Giyu and Sanemi. It's good to see this man putting in some work with those wind breathing techniques.
It was sick to see both of them. I didn't know what to expect. We get a little bit of taste of the personality of the Wind Hashira from the previous seasons, especially like when Tanjiro came up and he was like stabbing the box with Nezuko in it. So we get a little bit of his personality.
Well, he really hates demons, and then in last season you saw why. Like you had to see the backstory.
Yep.
But yeah, continue.
Well, it was nice to be able to see more of their abilities, both him and the Snake Hashira, because we haven't gotten as much of the Snake Hashira at all.
Yeah,
either.
I'd say the least from him, because like not even any real backstory, anything. Just that it seems like he's got a thing for old mommy milkers, but that's about it. But yeah, it's cool. It was really cool to see. I mean, these guys are doing this without breaking a sweat.
And to be honest, they did what we've been kind of talking about for a while now, which we've been asking for, is adding some more anime only content.
Added in that alone was cool. I want more. I do want more, but like just that, if they just did that little scene alone and added it in here, well, it already makes this season that much better.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's do more of that.
Yep, I'm hoping they do because, as we've said before, like we've kind of read the manga already, so we don't want to like reveal too much. But as far as like, I'm just hoping that this season that this is a good chance for them to add more anime only content because it's a really short arc.
It is, but it's also it's needed. You got to have the training, and it's pretty cool, and you get some insight into some character backstory. There's just not a lot of meat there, so adding some filler, not a bad idea.
It's definitely a necessary arc, but yeah, we both agree filler would be good, especially for this world because it's so one noted right now that giving a little bit more world building is just going to be better for the fans.
Yeah,
that's what true fan service should be, not the scandalous women,
not the love Ashura. not the heavies.
But yeah, so it was nice. I am curious to see. So like after the scene with the two Hashira at the beginning, the anime only content, we see them come back to the headquarters for the Demon Slayer Corps, and they're met with the master's wife, and she starts talking to the love Hashira, and what's I'm sorry, the other Hashira,
the Mist Hashira.
Yeah, the Mist Hashira.
Yeah.
And she brings up the marks, and they have to try and figure out
to explain how they get them. It's so funny.
And the love Hashira is just like trying to describe it using like
bam
onomatopoeia words, like,
and then she's like extremely embarrassed. Yeah,
and then
funny.
the Mist Hashira comes in with like a relatively decent explanation of what he was feeling and how he got to that state. But I'm most curious
beats
about
per minute, baby.
Yeah, 200 beats per minute, and he was able to tell his temperature, which was over 102 degrees, which is really freaking high. But I'm most interested about what the master's wife, when they were talking about the mark, and they were talking about the handed down like knowledge they know from one of the original breathing technique users. I love how they slyly cut out what happens to them. She says, no matter what, who has formed it, it's already whoever's gotten the marks, it's already too late. For those who are going to get the marks, anyone who has them, and then they don't tell you what happens.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling it's just death. I have a feeling that's what it is.
Like, I do know the answer, so I will not add in or speculate on that.
Yeah, see, I'm not that far ahead in the manga yet.
It's cool. I will say it makes sense what it is.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna switch gear just a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead,
buddy. How many raining blood scenes am I gonna get? I mean, it's like they're catering to me.
I saw, you know what? When that scene happened, I knew it was going to come up again.
And because it's also with one of my boys.
Yep.
Like, what are we doing?
Yep.
I mean, I am a fan. I really enjoyed it. Like I said at the start of this review, it's just nice to be back in that universe, and the crispy animations.
Yeah.
Ufotable is them. So it's cool. It's nice, man. I'm happy to be back. I'm really excited for the next episode. Hold on. They did not do an intro song, did they?
No, it was a cold open, I think. Yeah, it was a cold open.
We don't know about that one yet, but next Sunday.
Sunday.
And there was a weird thing about this past Sunday too. It aired like 6 hours later than the normal air time.
Yeah, it's supposed to air earlier from now on. I think it was just because it was the first one. It was an hour long, so they did like a special time slot for it. Probably because I know that like when they pick out these time slots, if your show's like an hour long, they're only going to have like certain time slots open. So that's probably why it was on later in the day. That makes sense. So
we are currently doing. Well, let's rate this episode, and then I'll go into that. I'll go first. I think I'm gonna go So, I'm gonna go 6.8. Go 6.8, and I don't know if that doesn't. I don't know if that feels low to you, but
No, it doesn't. It actually feels a little bit higher for me.
does it? Okay, that's fine. Well, I was gonna say I'm adding in points for that raining blood, so like
Okay.
I could see it closer to a 6.
I was gonna say I was gonna give it like a 6.2.
Okay.
Because it was good. It's just and to be honest, it would have been lower if they did not have that opening scene.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I'm rating this episode off of that opening scene alone, really. I shouldn't do that, but it was crispy animation. It was fun. It was cool. 2 Hashira we haven't seen. They did a cool thing by adding in anime only, which we've asked for. So those little things, and the raining blood, I've already covered that. But that's what gives me a little higher than a 6. Because I think it'd be sitting at a 6 normally.
Yeah, I would have gone. Well, I'm giving it that 0.2 more because of the anime only. It was really short, but it was good.
Yep.
It's just this episode felt slow. You know, it just felt kind of slow, especially for an hour-long release. I feel like there could have been
maybe something a little more spicy.
Yeah, but
you've read this.
I have.
Season though, so
I will say they're at least sticking to the manga really well, almost verbatim.
Yeah.
So
I think we can meet it at 6.5. I think that'd be fair.
Yeah, 6.5 is we can reach it. We could say hop score 6.5.
Yeah. Gosh, now I think I want to go lower.
Well, we can drop it to 6.4.
I think we go straight 6, just a straight up 6.
Okay, so now we're just okay. Yeah,
let's just do straight up 6. We'll leave all we'll leave it in. Don't edit it out. We'll leave it in. We are on a 6 though, because I want to leave room between where we're rating and the top score. You know what I'm saying? I want to leave a gap because this is the first episode.
It's fair point. And we do know where this is going.
Yeah.
And we do know that it is going to get more hype.
Yeah.
So
I think 6. I think 6 feels better.
Yeah. I agree. That
0.8 was raining blood, and I'm gonna pull it in. But hey, if they hit me with another raining blood scene, though, I might go back up. Who knows? Anyways, so I was gonna make a note, just to really to talk it over with you, but then the listeners. So our Saturdays are Kaiju and My Hero. And then Sunday morning we wake up, do our thing, and we knock out Go-Go and then Demon Slayer. And then straight into recording.
Yep.
So if we're forgetting people's names or getting them mixed up, that is why. It's 4 episodes in a pretty short amount of time. Also, it's not the only thing we're doing. We have a lot going on in our lives, so there's a lot of thoughts circulating. So keeping names is a little hard. Demon Slayer and My Hero is going to be easier, but I do feel like I'm still going to struggle on Go-Go and Kaiju.
Yeah, it's gonna get easier as the series go on and we grow with the characters, of course. But it's good to let the audience know. Obviously, we want to let you guys know that this is why some of the times we forget certain things.
We are actually paying attention to the episodes, and I do know
heavily.
the characters' names. And if you give me more than a few seconds, I can figure out what their name is.
Yeah,
but when I'm on the spot, it's a little harder.
Yeah.
So
it's also I think this is a good time too to kind of just let the people know. Obviously, like this episode, we had to re-record because of recording issues. We're also going through the process of just trying to figure out exactly how we want to fix our workflow.
Learning audio. Yes, workflow.
Yeah. Workflow, getting it out, getting a release schedule on point. So it is going to be a little sporadic, at least for the first few months, because we're trying to get everything down, figure out all the content we want to release. Podcast is the primary thing right now, but it's just going to take some time, so please bear with us. We'll try and put out some stuff. If there are going to be delays, we'll let you guys know.
We also, I think you said this. I mean, you may have said this. We also work full time, separate jobs outside of this. So
yeah. This is our fun side gig for now.
Yes, which feels like a second job at this point. But we both like working, and honestly, it's fun. It is fun. Yeah, and it is rewarding when you do finish the product and get it out. It does feel good. Whether it's only 1 or 2 people that we don't know that have seen it, that's fine.
Yeah. This is a good place to plug our Instagram too. So guys, go check us out, Hidden Online Podcast on Instagram, because that is where we'll definitely be making announcements about new episodes. If we're delayed, we'll run polls and just post new shorts and stuff there. So that way you guys can preview some of the stuff that we are going to release. Just go check it out there. Even send us some comments and let us know what you guys think, what you guys might have in mind. Give us some feedback, and that would be greatly appreciated. But definitely check there for our schedule and our release times.
Yep. We appreciate it. Let's jump into, I don't have any freeform stuff. If we want to hit a little fitness section, I just have one little thing to talk about, honestly. So it's not a lot for me this week.
I'll let you, you can go first on fitness. Go ahead.
So I did my first real cold plunge this past Sunday. Mm-hmm. Fire. Would highly recommend. Go do something hard. Just do it. Get it out of the way. The dopamine hit is out of this world. Insane. Yeah, that's it. But then we had to re-record today. So in the time that I did a cold plunge on Sunday morning, I did another one Monday night. So I've done 2 cold plunges, and I am a fan.
Did you do it? Did you do the second one after like a workout or anything, or did you just?
No, it was after just working all day.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it was just for. I really wanted to get 2 of my other buddies to do it, and so I convinced them that we were going to do it. And so now we're going to make it a weekly thing. Start of the week, we're going to do a cold plunge, just to do something hard at the beginning of the week. Set yourself up for. Any obstacles that you're probably most likely going to face that week,
Yeah, I've heard some like different information about cold plunges, like versus like cold plunges after workouts versus on your off days and stuff. I think that from what I've read and what I've heard, like the best technically for like muscle growth is when you do it like on your off days when you're not working out.
I've heard that.
But for recovery, I can tell you, like, I've done cold plunges after like, yeah.
So maybe if you so you finish that now, I want to add to what you're saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say for recovery, like I've done cold plunges after like really heavy lift days, like when I'm doing like back or like squats, deadlifts, stuff like that, and my recovery is just infinitely better. It's just substantially different.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're not in a spot where you're actually trying to bulk, you're probably good to, I mean, even if you're in your cutting phase, you're probably good to do it after workouts. If you're not actually trying to get bigger, essentially, you'd probably be fine. And good grief, it's probably it's probably so hard to even tell. But, you're in there putting in the work, so you're gonna try to maximize effort anywhere you can. So yeah, that was it for me though. Just the cold plunge thing. I got 2 of them under the belt, and I would like to set up a regular schedule to where I do it at least once a week. I'd like to do it at the top of the week. If it ends up being middle or end, that's fine too. But I see Monday as a day for opportunity. So get in there, let's do something hard, and then we'll have the rest of the week to be more resilient to things that life is going to throw at us.
Well, it's funny you say that. Like you talk about Mondays. It's almost like treating Monday like your morning on a daily routine. Where it's like me, I love going to the gym in the morning because I like getting it out of the way. Where it's like you can look at Monday as like this is the start of your week. Yeah. So go ahead and knock it out on Mondays to get the hardest thing out of the way. So that way the rest of your week feels good. Yeah,
man, I can't tell you like how good I have felt after just accomplishing these small wins. I mean, it's 3 minutes, man. 3 minutes of suffering for I've been riding this high for a couple days, dude. I feel good. And then things will happen in the middle of your day, and I don't know, normally you mental boom. I feel like you mental boom less. If you
mean like that crash phase where it's
I'm talking mental boom where I'm so stressed that like I'm actually like I'm exploding inside, essentially. Just, I'm done. I'm tilted. I'm out. I'm just going to go home and sit down and not talk to anyone. This helps you to combat those things that will try to put you in that state.
Yeah.
So yeah, and go hit the sauna too. That's way more relaxing than the cold plunge. I mean, it can be miserable about 40 minutes in, and you're ready to die. But yeah, we got to hit a day where we do hot cold therapy. Let's hit a 3-minute sauna, 3-minute ice bath.
So like so like it's almost like they do this thing up in Wisconsin, and I don't think it's just in Wisconsin, but just kind of like in the colder areas.
The sauna camp?
The polar bear plunge. So in fact, my cousins have done this, and they've asked me to like come up and do it. And to be honest, have you ever seen? I think it's called the Cabin. The Bert Kreischer special on Netflix, where he like brings comedians up to this cabin in the woods.
No.
Okay, so they kind of do something similar. You sit in a sauna, and you get super super hot. And then you run out and immediately plunge into like ice cold water.
That's cool. That's essentially what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, so they call it the polar bear plunge, and it's something that I would absolutely do. That sounds like it's supposed to like give you those shock proteins that they talk about to help like build muscle and stuff.
Sounds cool.
I would definitely be interested in doing something like that. Yeah.
Well, did you have anything?
The only thing that I have is I've just started dedicating at least one day a week to mobility and stretching.
That's right. Yeah.
My personal trainer has been giving like a whole bunch of like hip mobility and shoulder mobility training because that's where I have the most issues. That's what's causing the strain on my like lower backs and my shoulders. So I've been dedicating like Wednesdays to that, and then he's also given me some really good like shoulder warm-ups for like push days when you're doing chest and like when you're doing like bench or when you're doing like shoulder presses and stuff, so that way you don't hurt your shoulders as much. That has been probably the biggest benefit and plus to my workout. I've been able to increase my weights.
Fuck yeah,
I haven't been as sore.
Sorry. Frick yeah, brother. This is a family friendly podcast.
You liar. So just I can tell you, I highly recommend, especially if you're like with my job, Cali is a little bit different. Cali is like day to day is just like Cali's day to day is a little bit more mobile. He doesn't have to sit at a desk all day like I do, and since I'm in a chair all day, you stiffen up. You stiffen up real bad. So if you live as sedentary, like if your job requires you to be more sedentary, I highly recommend you start incorporating like stretching and mobility training and stuff like that.
What was that little trick with the chair where you put your hips above your knees?
Yeah. So if you like the chair that I'm in right now, I have a cushion that forces your hips up. And if your knees are below your waistline, then your body will naturally sit more straight. Like your spine will straighten out more. So that's a good way to kind of cut down on the fatigue of sitting in a chair all day.
Right. It definitely does you some good for your lower back and just kind of your posture overall.
There's actually a couple companies that have come out with some chairs that are designed that way. In fact, Logitech did something with, what is it, Herman Miller chairs? Logitech and Herman Miller, like they did like a gaming chair. I saw it around Christmas time. It was like $500, which is, not too bad for a decent Herman Miller chair. It was like $550 or something like that. And it had a ergonomic design where you could tilt the chair down so that your knees were facing lower below your waistline, which I thought was really cool and should definitely be incorporated in more chairs, because if you sit in a computer chair all day long, you are going to hurt your back. Yeah. So
it's good for those gamer giga chads out there.
Like us.
I wish. I was a giga chad.
Yeah, same.
There are some hardcore gamers, though, that could benefit heavily from this.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm just trolling. Hey, that was good. This was, I think we covered it all. And we got it right this time. So we're going to have this out in no time, and then we'll be right back to recording the next episode in a few days.
Yep. We'll hopefully get the next one out quicker. Just look out. We'll make some announcements. We do think we have the workflow down a little bit better now.
I think the formatting for the podcast is starting to take shape. We'll see. I mean, it's just, gosh, we have episodes that will, like, shows are starting and then other shows drop off. So maybe the format will never actually be solidified, but I think if we have a decent idea for it, that's good enough.
Yeah, and we could also, this is a great time for us to ask the audience, hey guys, if you guys have any comments or feedback on the formatting, or you think we could add anything in or take anything away, we'd love to hear some feedback on it.
For sure, 100%. Well, that is it for me.
Yep, I think that's it for me today too.
All right, well, y'all enjoy this week. Go do something hard. We will see y'all on the other side. Peace.
Be sure to check us out on Instagram at Hidden Online Podcast or email us at CallieandQuinn@hiddenonlinepodcast.com.